Welcome back, everyone. This is my new Black Panther 2 video. There's been a lot of reports about how they're handling the movie. We just learned a little bit more about how they're introducing mutants in the MCU in the Ms. Marvel series, and that's going to continue in Black Panther 2 later this year. And now they're introducing Fantastic Four characters in the main 616 universe, so this is mostly going to be about the new 616 main version of Doctor Doom, because they're adapting a critical piece of the Doom War storyline for the movie. If you're brand new to the channel, Comic-Con is this week. They're going to have a major Marvel Comic-Con panel. We're supposed to get the Black Panther 2 trailer. We're supposed to get a preview for What If Season 2, the new X-Men Revival series. I'll do videos for everything because that's just the beginning. They're supposed to be revealing the future of the Secret Wars arc that we're in the middle of right now, all the upcoming movies, maybe some big casting announcements for some of the upcoming films that we know are happening, but they haven't talked about a lot recently, like the brand new Fantastic Four movie. Also more about them introducing more legit X-Men inside the MCU. So be sure to subscribe to get all those videos. There's going to be a lot of really cool stuff coming this week. But the big news is that Black Panther 2 is going to be doing part of the Doom War storyline that involves Doctor Doom trying to get his hands on vibranium. Doom War is this seminal arc in the comics where Doctor Doom wages this giant war against Wakanda to try and steal its vibranium. He winds up speaking with Boss, the Panther goddess herself, who we just saw in Thor: Love and Thunder. She's still alive at the end of Thor: Love and Thunder, by the way, like they don't kill her off during that movie. It also involved the core X-Men characters, like the core team, Storm, Wolverine, Colossus, Cyclops, even Deadpool was part of the Doom War storyline, just because it was that big of a story. But in that storyline, Doctor Doom basically winds up making himself a new suit of armor and weaponry made of vibranium. Now, he wants to use vibranium for a lot of different reasons. One of those is to make himself a really badass looking suit. But during that storyline, Black Panther wound up stopping him from controlling all vibranium on the planet by just using a device to render all vibranium on Earth inert, making it essentially useless to Doctor Doom, but also making it useless to Black Panther as well. This was also around the time that Shuri had taken the mantle of Black Panther from T'Challa, because it happened right after the Dark Reign storyline where Black Panther had been injured so badly that he needed to recuperate, but Wakanda still needed a Black Panther protector, so she took the mantle. But what's happening in Black Panther 2 is that it's mostly a story about Namor versus Wakanda and introducing the Ironheart character. So you're asking, like, why is Doom War so important? Why is Doctor Doom so important to Black Panther 2 if they're mostly concerned with naming the new Black Panther, someone taking the mantle, and what's going on with Namor? Supposedly, they're adapting the part of Doom War for the movie where Doctor Doom searches the Earth for a source of vibranium to use in his weapons and armor. Now, vibranium has a billion different uses. Now, like they had the joke in Avengers Age of Ultron, like, you can do so many things with vibranium, but the humans just use it to create a frisbee. Doctor Doom can do a lot of things with vibranium. What they're supposedly doing is that in the movie, a group is using new technology created by Riri Williams on the side while she's at MIT, also creating her own version of an Iron Man Mark I armor suit. Like, she becomes Ironheart, she has her own version of a cave scene where she creates a version of her own Mark I suit, but eventually, probably by the end of the movie, early prediction to make, this will get a more comic book accurate version of her armor suit. But supposedly she creates some kind of technology that the villains use to find vibranium on Earth, and that leads them to learning about Atlantis underwater, and that causes them to discover Namor, and that's why he gets pissed off. Because of what this separate group is doing, nothing that Black Panther or Wakanda is doing in the movie. But supposedly he asks them for help, and they deny him help, and that leads to Namor's beef with Black Panther and Wakanda. But as we all suspected, Namor isn't meant to be the real main villain of the movie. They are playing it in a very Captain America Civil War kind of way, where you have two groups fighting at each other, but neither one is really responsible for setting things off. It's always this third party, this mystery person that winds up being the true cause of all this fighting that they're doing. So in the movie, Namor is more of an anti-hero character, and they do have a reason for not ultimately killing him off, like keeping him alive at the end of the movie so they can use him in future films. So if you're comparing this to a situation like Captain America's Civil War, the real Baron Zemo in all this isn't actual Baron Zemo. It's the 616 version of Doctor Doom who's funding this other team of researchers who were looking for vibranium and wound up finding Atlantis and Namor. Like, will the real Slim Shady stand up? The real Doctor Doom behind everything, pulling the strings? But that's how they're adapting that part of the Doom War storyline. Doctor Doom searching for vibranium and it leading to this giant war that he inadvertently winds up causing. Even though he doesn't really care about it. Like, he doesn't want to cause a war on Earth looking for vibranium, but he doesn't care about it either. If a bunch of people need to die in order for MCU 616 Doctor Doom to get his vibranium, he's totally fine with that. But there's this whole main plot with Namor versus Wakanda and Shuri and Okoye trying to protect Riri Williams from Namor and Atlantis, who also blames her for revealing Atlantis to the rest of the world, and the whole thing with T'Challa dying during the film and then passing the mantle to the next Black Panther. That's mostly the main story. It's just the idea that Doctor Doom is behind all of this, pulling all the strings. So actual Doctor Doom might not physically actually have a cameo scene, like there might just be some kind of teaser at the end of the movie or some verbal shout out or post-credit scene that reveals that all their funds were coming from someone called Victor Von Doom or Latveria or something like that, letting you know that it actually was Doctor Doom. And it sounds like they'll save some future movie for actually physically revealing who they've cast as the actor, even though there's lots of fan casting going around right now for the brand new version of the Fantastic Four characters. I just did a Doctor Strange 2 Doctor Doom video because they revealed what was going on with Doctor Doom in that universe, but it was the 838 version of Doctor Doom. I'll post a link to that video in the description below. But there was this huge connection with Reed Richards basing his portal technology on Doctor Doom's time travel platform, and that being connected to what was happening with Kang the Conqueror in the multiverse. So there were like all these big connections that they were drawing between Doctor Doom and all these other big Secret Wars storylines. So it makes sense that the main 616 version of Doctor Doom would also be tied with some of that as well, but his storyline will be a little bit different from 838 universe Doctor Doom's. As far as mutants in the MCU, Namor is known as the first mutant in the comics. That's because he debuted in the comics before Stan Lee and Jack Kirby actually created the X-Men characters in the 60s, even though within the story, chronologically, there are older mutants like Apocalypse and Selene, but they didn't create those and introduce them till way, way later. In the movie, supposedly they're also going to say that Namor has been a mutant in the 616 universe, and he is much, much older. And spoiler warning for Ms. Marvel if you haven't seen those episodes, but in the Ms. Marvel series, they also just canonized her as a mutant, which the producers clarified after the finale.
In your genes. Like a mutation.
So if it wasn't clear, the producers did say that Ms. Marvel is supposed to be a mutant in the MCU. They had always planned on making her a mutant. She was never supposed to be an Inhuman, but it was all based on this big rights issue and these requirements that Marvel gave them back when they first introduced the character in 2013 and 2014 in the comics. So like the actual comic book creators always wanted Kamala Khan to be a mutant, but there was all this weird behind the scenes drama that was going on, and they were forced to make her an Inhuman. So when the series came along, because Marvel got the rights back to the X-Men characters, they said, oh, you wanted to originally make her a mutant, you can do that now. But they also explained that there were a bunch of deleted scenes with the whole Jinn storyline, this clandestine dimension storyline. So if it's kind of confusing the way that her powers work and the way that Kamran's powers work, that's why. There was supposed to be a whole bunch of scenes and storyline that they had to get rid of. But they said that they changed her powers so that it makes more sense what's happening in Captain Marvel 2, the Marvels movie. That means that they're going to be doing a lot more X-Men mutant stuff in Captain Marvel 2. And now because of what they're doing with Namor, making him a mutant in the MCU like he is in the comics, it sounds like they're going to continue that storyline during Black Panther 2. And because there's this whole subplot with them naming the next Black Panther, then passing the mantle from T'Challa, is supposedly they're going to separate the idea like they did in the comics. So for a brief period, there was a Black Panther and a separate ruler of Wakanda. Supposedly in the MCU now, what they're going to do is M'Baku is going to take over the rulership of Wakanda, and he's just going to be the brand new king, and Shuri is just going to become the next Black Panther. Killmonger did burn all the heart-shaped herbs, so supposedly there will be a storyline in the movie where she finds some kind of workaround that gives her the powers and the same ability to commune with the afterlife, the ancestral plane, this alternate dimension. There's supposed to be all kinds of twists with that, but basically the idea at the end of the day is that she will take the mantle of Black Panther. So whenever they pick up with whatever Black Panther 3 winds up being the third film in the trilogy, she'll start that movie being the new Black Panther. I'm also assuming because they're doing a lot of the Doom War storyline during Black Panther 2, or at least part of the subplot is Doom War, they're not going to do that story for Black Panther 3, like it'll be some other story when they get to that movie. As for other Fantastic Four characters, supposedly there's rumors they might introduce The Thing on the She-Hulk series, and he might be played by Jason Segel, but that's just a rumor right now. I don't know if that's going to wind up being true. We will get She-Hulk episodes really soon. I'll be doing videos for all the episodes, so make sure you have alerts enabled for my channel so you don't miss any of those. We'll get a lot more trailers for that really soon. There have been all kinds of casting rumors for the main 616 version of the Fantastic Four, so hopefully they'll announce some of those plans during the big Marvel Comic-Con panel this week. But of course, I will do videos for everything that they announce. The new Black Panther 2 trailer that they're supposed to release this week will clarify some of the details about what's happening in the movie, but I don't expect it to answer every single question. It's going to be like Marvel's trailers in the past, like they'll try to hide some of the plot and some of the details. I'll post that video as soon as they release it, along with a bunch of other trailer videos. It's going to be a good week. We're going to be eating good this week. Everyone click here to learn about the God of the Symbiotes in Thor Love and Thunder and a bunch of other deleted scenes, and click here for my brand new Black Panther 2 Namor first look video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.